What is touching, the sense of touch? I'm going to break that down now. With touching, we need to see that whenever there is touching taking place, there is always, of course, a sensation. But the key thing to understand here, my fellow expressions, is that the sensation is always singular. That's why you say a sensation, singular. The sensation of warmth, of coldness, of rough, of smooth, prickly. It's a sensation, it's singular. Even if, just for the skeptical people out there, which is fine, even if somehow or in some experience you are feeling, or the sensation is of apparently two sensations, let's say rough and smooth, or prickly and wooden, at the exact same time, it's still just one experience. So it's still just one. We can always reduce things back to that one. So this one, going back to sensation, this one sensation does this sensation know there is two things meeting? Is it aware of the two hands clapping? Is it aware of one hand clapping? Is it aware of a click? Just as I said with seeing, and you can probably follow, I'm going to say this about all the senses. Does this sense have its own mind? Can you verify that without being super philosophical and saying, well, maybe? The maybes are not going to get you anywhere. They're going to keep you in this philosophical world, which can be fun. But if you want truth, then you need to get into reality, the depth, and that's what this course is about. Again, I ask you to ask yourself, is the sense touching an entity that has its own mind? It will have to have its own mind to recognize two things are meeting. But of course, it's not the sense itself, the sense of touch itself, that perceives two things meeting. It's just one sense, a sensation, a sensation. When I say sense, I meant sensation, a sensation. It's just one sensation. It's always just one. And again, two sensations is still one experience. It's just one. So again, would you say it's the sensation itself that recognizes two things have met? Does sensation have eyes? Literally, sensation itself. If you was just to imagine sensation itself, not a particular sensation, just sensation, because we are saying that touch is a thing, a sense, which makes it objective in some way. We can say this is not touching, an experience of touching. This is an experience of touching. So it has some kind of objective quality that we've created. But looking into the truth, can we say that a sense, the senses, a sensation, has any other job, any other qualities other than just being a sensation. It's a sensation. That's its job. That's its role. Now this sensation, particularly if you were to close your eyes, always arises or appears within the mind. You may say it's in your hands, but the recognition is in the mind. Where you're first recognizing it is in the mind. If you're looking at your hands, you may say you're recognizing it first through seeing. But if you close your eyes, you're not seeing it, of course, yet you can still recognize it. So it's still the mind, actually. So the sense of touch is taking place within mind, or simply the knowing of the sensation, mind. You may be wondering, what are the implications of what I'm saying? Here goes. What I'm suggesting to you, my fellow expression of consciousness, is that you have never ever touched anything in your life. How can you touch something if there is never ever two things within that sensation, within that experience? As I said before, the sensation is always one. The experience is always an experience. The bias of the eyesight, the seeing sense, using that bias, yes, we say there is two things meeting. Me and you and me. I'm in the car, I'm sitting down. But if we do this bias-less and just focus on one sense at a time, which is what this section is about, we see that there were never an experience, there is never an experience of two sensations meeting. Like somehow you can perceive one sensation coming at a distance, and you perceive another sensation coming at a distance, and then they meet and mix, and now there's two sensations. I mean, is that your experience? Of course, I'll just say to you, that's just your mind. That's just an imagination, sorry. Is it not just that there's a sensation, there's a sensation, there's a sensation? Even doing this, for example, like if you were to do this with me, if you can right now, is it not the same for you as it is for me? That actually the so-called connection is starting here and then it veers off. But the sensation is still one. If I was to use imagination, I would say there's still sensation here and sensation here, but it's one. My experience is not telling me there is a sensation here and a sensation here. It's just one together, a sensation. Using the bias of eyes, yes, two objects created that one sensation, but it's still just one sensation. No matter how wide my arms go, it's still one sensation. Again, this is all to help you strip down the layers of ignorance that is necessary to even experience so-called enlightenment anyway. We have to be ignorant first. We need that contrast. Makes sense, right? So this is touch. Again, it's another arising within this consciousness, call it awareness, mind, whatever you wish to call it. But again, it's not an actual thing itself, entity itself. I'm suggesting to you. Again, you have to do the looking yourself. You may say, oh, but there are sensors in the brain, sensors in the fingertips, sensors. Okay, let's say there are. And I'm sure there are. Apparently. But these sensors is it your experience? Remember, not what somebody's telling you, not what I'm telling you, not what anybody's telling you. Is it your experience, your direct path experience, that there is a sense, a sensation, and these sensors. And there's this experience of these two things meeting and then creating a sensation? Or is your experience always that there is just a sensation instantly? There is a sensation when I'm dreaming, I'm walking, and I'm feeling the sensation of the ground beneath my feet. I'm splashing water on my face in my dream. Is your physical face, so-called physical face, feeling that? It's still the mind, of course. Remember, we already went through seeing. So if you was even seeing sensors in this finger, in your finger, or a sensor, this sensor would still be taking place, the experience of it would still be taking place in that same place we call mind. As I said in the seeing video, when we were talking about the stars, it's still within this one experience. So sensation, the apparent senses of the body, all share the same one experience. Imagine one TV screen, different things taking place on the TV screen, in the show, in the movie, but it's always one TV screen, and this TV screen is representing this experience in this analogy. One experience, but different things within the experience. So stripping it back to this so-called physical understanding, an experience of senses and sensation, but it's still an one singular experience. As I suggested to you before, life can always be reduced back to one, that singular. This is why we say oneness. When we truly see it, it's self-evident. And this is what I'm helping you to see. So even the senses, so-called senses of the body that are sensing the sensation or creating the sensation, however it's said, it doesn't follow. Not in deep truth. Because they share the same backdrop of experience as the sensation itself. It's just when we use the bias, again, of sight, particularly, that we say, oh yes, this is doing this. This is doing that. Imagine if you could never see, you would completely have to go on faith and trust that there was something called sensors and sensation, instead of just going with your experience of there's just sensation. I don't know where these senses are coming into this sensation. All I know is there is sensation. You can do that simply by closing your eyes and looking for a moment. You'd have to believe there is not just a sensation of your feet on the ground, there's also sensors sensing that sensation. And then you'd have to add the knowing of the sensor that knows the sensation. Yet, in our experience, we don't need that sensor within this equation. Knowing, sensation, that direct. There is knowing and a sensation. I really enjoy these talks. I hope you do too. See you in the next video.